Hello, I'm Daisy, and thank you for joining me here on my channel. And if you're watching this video, it's because you want to learn how to read tarot, specifically the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so as we mentioned, I've been going through this small series here, highlighting the 22 cards individually for the major arcana. And these are unique cards in the sense that they help us address and look at aspects of possibly areas sometimes that we need to look into, whether it's trials or tribulations or issues of karmic issues lessons that we really need to learn at that particular moment in our life. So the Fool's on that journey towards enlightenment. And that's where he was trying to move. And that's kind of a representation where we, would like to do the experiences that take us, always kind of unfolding a new version of ourselves. So he had just finished visiting with the Hermit, and from there has actually picked up some good lessons. I mean, he definitely had some structure with the Emperor, and then learned a lot of being able to wield, some of the things with the Chariot that he had learned back with the Magician. And now he's taken a little time to go on a retreat, and then is hit up with this Wheel of Fortune. So what we're going to do, and as I mentioned, the importance of taking a look at different cards, this is probably the only one of the cards that actually doesn't deviate much in the symbols that I've noticed. But in other decks, it does actually. Okay, so let's get started and take a look at the card. So the first impression when we see a wheel with numbers, we think that there's going to be able to relay and spin it. So this immediately, to me, when I see it, it's like, well, this could reflect the ups and downs of life. It's always constantly changing. And, that's that sense that I get when I see this card. So we jump into the numerology aspect and look at the number designation. So this one is the number 10. And so basically you take 1 plus 0 and it gives you the base number of 1. So we're going back to that stage of beginning and the independence and the creation and that progress. It's like, okay, so there's a new opportunity here to try something new, to try something and see where it's going to land for us. So again, we see this coming through as a cycle. So that's the first thing we see with that number. Then we start looking at some of the aspects here. I mean, the Sphinx is sitting right on top of that wheel, as you could see. And where do we see this again? We see this from before with the Chariot. Remember when the Fool had met with the Chariot and picked up a lot of wisdom? We had the Sphinx there. So here we are again. We've got that experience that we're still bringing with us, letting us know what we've learned. And here it represents the mystery of life. And it's also letting us know that, we need to maintain a balance because it is part animal and part human. It's understanding that we can come together even though there might be some things that are opposing. So there is unity in division. The Sphinx here is saying that there is order that can be established here. And it is the predominating aspect because it is holding that wheel in that position right now. So then we have the snake showing over here on this side. And what does this represent? We could all go back to the connotation that there's a little dark side, that maybe there's a shadow that we have to deal with and work through some things in life. So if the wheel spins and lands in that area, those are things that we're going to have to deal with. And here we have Anubis, and he is represented from the Egyptian god that would bring the dead souls through that reincarnation process. So that rebirth, the idea that we can come through and survive some of our negative experiences, is represented in this wheel. When you look at the wheel, there's on the first ring out here, on the perimeter ring, the symbols to represent the unutterable name of God. And so that brings us the concept that there is a mysterious nature to life. And then the other ones are more discernible letters that we could see here. Could be tarot or could be rota. Either way, the rota means wheel and the wheel of life, and as you cycle through, or it could just be the tarot itself, which kind of bringing us that there's multiple aspects of life, right? Okay. Then the other things that we have are some elements that are shown on here. Mercury, sulfur, water, and salt. Yep. And these are the primordial elements of creation. And that's kind of bringing us back to that reference of the magician, as he had all these elements laid out, and that he was learning this mastery and he was commanding so many things. So in this wheel, we are shown that everything's here for us to work with. And we have all this ability with life, with the God force, with the elements. How is that wheel going to spin for us? And at the same time, with enough planning, we can predict and we can control some of our actions, right? So what else do we have here? We have these winged creatures at the four corners of the card itself. And here it's representing the elements: air, earth, water, and fire. So we've got the cosmos involved, we've got God involved, we've got, the elements of earth involved. We've also got the will involved, and the sword there kind of saying we're commanding a lot of things here. So now how do we, a couple things I want to show, that this is the Wheel of Fortune is dominated by the Jupiter, which is lucky timing, and it is therefore a fire sign related to the Wheel of Fortune. So it has no specific time as far as a horoscope to it, but definitely it is all about luck and timing. So when it shows up in a reading, one of the things that you want to talk about is, if it's on positive, we're talking about good luck. We're talking about life's karma, the things that show up in our lives that we are working with. And at the same time, because you've got all these elements involved, it's about staying humble in the things that's happening and showing up in our lives as well. And that, let's appreciate the cycles of life and see that there is a balance in things when we, step in it with a humble attitude. So when it shows up in reverse, it's a warning or a caution to approach life with not so much control. We cannot be arrogant. We might be making some mistakes along the way, and maybe there's some things that have happened that it's just triggering a period of bad luck. Or maybe it could be that you might be coming through a period where you're resisting the change that's showing up in your life. So there you have it. What will be the next thing that the Fool will need to master along the way as he moves towards this journey of enlightenment? Are there some things that we need to work on? Do we need to get some balance or some justice? Have we created some karma or some issues? We'll find out in the next video.